Question 1. What should be taken into consideration when converting a lead in Salesforce? A. Leads that are associated with an active approval process cannot be converted. B. Salesforce automatically maps custom lead fields to custom account, contact, and opportunity fields. C. Salesforce automatically maps standard lead fields to standard account, contact, and opportunity fields. D. All open and closed activities from a lead will be deleted upon conversion. The correct answers are A and C. Salesforce has a built-in capability to take a lead record and convert it into an opportunity, an account, and a contact. Salesforce will copy certain standard fields from the lead and add that data where it best fits within the new records. Once a lead is converted, it vanishes from the user interface, but it is still accessible from certain reports and directly by querying the database. A is correct because Salesforce prevents converting any lead that still has an active approval process. Since the lead records disappear upon conversion, and since the result of that approval might be important to determine if the lead should be converted, Salesforce will not allow any lead to be converted until it has completed any open approval process. C is correct because Salesforce automatically maps standard lead fields to standard account, contact, and opportunity fields as part of out-of-the-box functionality. Now let's look at the incorrect answers. B is incorrect because all custom lead fields will need to be mapped manually to custom account, contact, and opportunity fields by a system administrator. In the future, it's possible that Einstein will bring predictive custom field mapping, but for now, Salesforce has no way of guessing what custom fields on other objects you intend to map to a given custom field from the lead. All custom lead fields will need to be mapped to the most appropriate custom fields on other objects manually. And there is only one mapping for the entire org, so you can't have different mappings by record type or by any other criteria. You can create more dynamic mappings using Process Builder or a trigger. D is incorrect because all open and closed activities from a lead are brought over to converted account, contact, and opportunity records. Although the lead will no longer exist in Salesforce after conversion, it would not make sense to delete already created open and closed activities. One last thing to remember about lead conversion. Once a lead is converted in Salesforce, it cannot be unconverted. It's a one-way process. Question 2. What is unique about a person account versus a standard business account in Salesforce? A. Person accounts can be merged with business accounts. B. Person accounts can be merged with other person accounts. C. Person accounts can be included in account hierarchies. D. Person accounts cannot be included in account hierarchies. E. Person accounts use more storage than a standard business account. The correct answers are B, D, and E. B is correct because a person account in Salesforce can only be merged with another person account. Lightning Experience does not support the merging of multiple person accounts. You have to switch to Salesforce Classic to merge person accounts. D is correct because person accounts cannot be included in account hierarchies because person accounts do not have the ability to have a parent account record associated with them. This is different from a standard business account that allows a record to have a parent record and to be included in a hierarchy. E is correct because a person account is stored in Salesforce as both a separate account record and a contact record. Since double the storage is used with a person account versus a standard business account, it is important to make sure that an org has ample storage space if it plans to store more than several 100,000 person account records. Now let's look at the incorrect answers. A is incorrect because a person account cannot be merged with a business account. Person account records can only be merged with other person account records. Business account records can only be merged with other business account records. C is incorrect because a person account cannot be included in account hierarchies. This is because person accounts are not allowed to have direct relationships with other accounts or contact records. There is a feature that enables contacts to link with multiple accounts. You can use this feature to create indirect relationships between a person account and another person account, or a business account, or even a contact record. Question 3. The sales manager at Prestige Worldwide has requested that any time a new account is created in Salesforce, a new opportunity should also automatically be created and associated with that newly created account. What can be used to accomplish this? A. Create a workflow rule. B. Write a before trigger. C. Write an after trigger. D. Create a formula field. The correct answer is C. C is correct because an after trigger can be used for two purposes: to access field values that are set by the system and to effect changes in other records. In this scenario, whenever a new account record is created, a new opportunity record must also be created and associated to the newly created account record. An after trigger is a perfect way to accomplish this solution. Most triggers used in Salesforce orgs will usually be before triggers, but we need to use the after trigger because we need information from the newly created account record, specifically the record ID, and Salesforce can't give us that information until after the account has been created. Now let's look at the incorrect answers. A is incorrect because a workflow rule can only perform 4 actions in Salesforce. The 4 actions are assign a task, send an email, update a field, or send an outbound message. None of these features will be able to accomplish creating a new record automatically once another record is saved. B is incorrect because a before trigger is used to update or validate record values before they are saved to the Salesforce database. And since we are looking to create a new record attached to our new account record, we cannot use a before trigger. We need it to be saved into the database first so we can get the account ID. D is incorrect because a formula field is used to calculate the value of a field based off one or more other fields. A formula field cannot be used to create records. There are other ways besides a trigger to meet the requirements in our scenario. You could also use Process Builder or Visual Workflow to create a new linked opportunity with some limitations. Question 4. What is a common case for installing an app from the Salesforce Appexchange? A. A Salesforce user needs special permissions to access a custom object. B. A Salesforce user needs a pre-built application to simplify a business issue. C. A Salesforce user needs standard functionality to be enhanced. D. A Salesforce user needs more data and file storage in their org. The correct answers are B and C. Installing apps from the Salesforce Appexchange helps you to extend the native Salesforce functionality with additional capabilities and integrations to other tools. B is correct because a custom developer is not always an available option to solve a specific business problem. With the Salesforce Appexchange, a user can search through thousands of pre-built applications that are free or paid to find a solution that will best meet their business needs in a short period of time. C is correct because Salesforce's standard functionality is sometimes not enough. For example, let's say an admin is interested in learning more about user adoption after an implementation. There are no native reports in Salesforce to report on the extent to which users are adopting the system. With an app from the Appexchange and a few clicks of a mouse, all of this adoption information can easily be added to your Salesforce org to be used by your administrators. Or you could add an integration to EchoSign or DocuSign to enable electronic signatures for client contracts directly within Salesforce. Now let's look at the incorrect answers. A is incorrect because special permissions to access a custom object are given through either a profile or a permission set. Profiles and permission sets cannot be downloaded from the Salesforce Appexchange. They can only be assigned through Salesforce's setup by a user with system admin access. D is incorrect because all Salesforce orgs come with a predetermined amount of data and file storage, depending on the number of users and the type of license purchased. If a user needs more data storage, file storage, or both, they can purchase it through their Salesforce's setup or by contacting their Salesforce account executive for more information. Additional storage is not purchased through the Appexchange. You can, however, integrate your org to a cloud storage solution using an Appexchange app. Companies like Box and Dropbox do have apps available to more easily store files outside of Salesforce. They don't increase the available storage within your Salesforce org, though. Question 5. The sales manager at Prestige Worldwide uses a custom object called Client Goals to store unique information about clients during the sales process. Once an opportunity becomes closed won, the sales manager needs to generate a document with information from both the custom object and the opportunity. How can these requirements be met? A. Install an app from the Salesforce Appexchange. B. Salesforce offers the ability to generate documents out of Box. C. Run a report, export the data to a CSV file, and manually populate the document. D. Use Apex Data Loader to export records from the custom object and the opportunity. The correct answer is A. An Appexchange app such as DocuSign, DrawLoop, or SpringCM will allow a user to automatically generate a clean-looking document using data from both standard and custom objects in Salesforce with the click of a button. Now let's look at the incorrect answers. B is incorrect because Salesforce does not offer an out-of-box document generation functionality for closed opportunities. While there is a contracts object in Salesforce that can be used to create contracts and some built-in quote generation tools, there is no easy way to generate a printable or sendable document for a closed opportunity without installing an Appexchange package that offers standard and custom object document creation. Document generation is consistently one of the most popular categories on the Appexchange. You can create a Visualforce page that will output to a PDF or a Word document, but it does require some scripting to make the page work, which could not be considered an out-of-box solution. And you were limited in how much you can format the generated document. C and D are not the best answers because they are both time-consuming and inefficient. It is possible to export data from records using a report or data loader if your org has API access enabled, but the document generation part of this question would still go unfulfilled. Installing a document generation app from the Appexchange would be a far better solution. Question 6. Prestige Worldwide has decided to host 10 networking events for its clients. To capture this information in Salesforce, 2 custom objects have been created, one called networking events and one called venues. An event can only be hosted at a single venue, but a single venue can host multiple events. The sharing rules may differ for venues and events. Which relationship type would be best to use to associate both objects? A. Hierarchical relationship. B. Master detail relationship. C. Lookup relationship. Or D. External lookup relationship. The correct answer is C. There are 2 answer choices that could have been feasible: the lookup relationship and the master detail relationship. A lookup relationship is the best way to associate both objects because in a lookup relationship, the association between objects is optional and records can exist in either object without being tied to the other. For example, not every venue will be booked for a networking event, and an event may be scheduled before a specific venue is chosen. So records could exist in either object without being linked to the other. A lookup relationship also does not impact Salesforce's sharing model for the objects, which allows each object to have its own unique sharing rules. Now let's look at the incorrect answers. A is incorrect because a hierarchical lookup relationship is only available for the user object, which is a standard Salesforce object. We are working with 2 custom objects in this question, which makes the hierarchical lookup relationship not an option. The hierarchical lookup relationship is used to relate users to other users to form a user hierarchy. B is incorrect because a master detail relationship links 2 objects together so that the master record controls certain behaviors of the detail record. Every detail record must be linked to a master record. Since a venue can be used for more than one event, and one event may not have a venue assigned yet, a master detail relationship will not work for linking the 2 objects together. Also, detail records inherit their sharing settings from the master object, so the detail object could not have its own unique sharing rules. D is incorrect because an external lookup relationship links a child standard object, custom object, or external object to a parent external object. The data from the external lookup relationship comes from an external data source outside of Salesforce. In our scenario, all of our data is currently stored inside Salesforce, which means external lookup relationship is not the right choice. Question 18. Prestige Worldwide uses multiple custom record types to organize their account structure. Anthony, a sales manager, notices that he does not have access to the SMB record type to create new accounts. What should an app builder recommend to give Anthony access to the missing record type? A. Edit Anthony's profile. B. Edit Anthony's role. C. Assign Anthony a permission set. D. Adjust Anthony's field level security. The correct answers are A and C. In Salesforce, profiles and permission sets control object-level permissions and field-level permissions. A is correct because record types are assigned at the profile level in Salesforce. Anthony's profile can be edited to grant him access to the correct record type that he needs to create the new account records. C is also correct because if Anthony needs access to a custom record type and all the other users in Anthony's specific profile do not need access to that record type, a permission set will work the same way in granting Anthony access to the record type he needs, but without changing the profile for everybody else. There is no need to do both A and C for Anthony. One or the other will solve his problem. Now, let's look at the incorrect answers. B is incorrect because roles in Salesforce affect what records a user can see that are owned by other people. A role would not impact a user's ability to create new records with a certain record type. If Anthony were unable to see certain records that he needs access to, then changing his role might help. D is incorrect because field-level security controls which specific fields Anthony can see when creating, editing, or viewing records. It would not help Anthony get the access he needs to a specific record type. Access to record types is controlled separately from field access, although both are controlled from the object settings of the profile. Question 24. What is true about record types in Salesforce? A. There's a limit of 200 record types per org that can be created. B. Case status pick list fields are configurable for record types. C. Record types can be assigned to campaign members. D. Lead status pick list values are not configurable from record types. Or E. Opportunity stage pick list fields are not configurable from record types. The correct answers are C, D, and E. C is correct because record types can be assigned to campaign members under two conditions. First, the campaign member type field must be added to the campaign page layout, as that is the only field on the campaign's object that can be used to track campaign record types. Second, the user working with campaign record types must have the marketing user permission checked in their user record in Salesforce setup. The campaign member object is a special case for record types. Most objects don't work this way. D and E are correct because the lead status pick list and the opportunity stage pick list are not available for record type use. This is because the lead status pick list is exclusively used for the lead process and the opportunity stage pick list is used for the sales process. Both of these fields are standard fields that come with a Salesforce org, and they can't be changed to edit them from record types. Each record type on these objects must be associated to a sales process or to a lead process, and then the process will determine what pick list values are available for that record type for that field. Now let's look at the incorrect answers. A is incorrect because there are no limits in Salesforce for the amount of record types that can be created throughout an org. As a best practice, Salesforce recommends no more than 200 record types be created, as administrators might have difficulty managing their record types if they exceed 200. But there's no hard limit. B is incorrect because case status pick list values are not available for record types, as they are used exclusively for support processes. Similar to opportunities and leads, Cases also has one pick list you can't configure from record types. You have to use the support process to configure the status field. Question 43. What is possible using lookup filters on an object? A. Pre-filter the available records in a lookup search dialog. B. Make filters optional at the discretion of the user. C. Use a validation rule to define the lookup filter criteria. D. Use a formula to define the lookup filter criteria. The correct answers are A and B. In Salesforce, lookup filters can be used along with validation rules to control the data quality of your records. Lookup filters are administrator settings that restrict which records you can choose for a lookup relationship field on a master detail or a hierarchical relationship field. An app builder could choose to use the lookup filter instead of relying on a validation rule if they were looking to limit the number of available options in a lookup search dialog or to help a user more quickly narrow down the available choices. These filters can be made optional so that a user can still choose to override the filter and choose from any of the available records. Now, let's look at the incorrect answers. C is incorrect because a validation rule works completely independently of lookup filters. You cannot link a lookup filter to a validation rule. D is also incorrect because a formula cannot be used in a lookup filter. Formulas are used in validation rules when an app builder needs to implement a complex data validation, and formulas can reference fields that basic filter criteria cannot, but you can't use formula fields in a lookup filter. So if you have complex rules on which records can be selected in a lookup, you might need to use some other method other than the standard lookup filter, such as a Visualforce component or a Lightning component, or maybe a visual workflow. Question 50. The sales manager at Prestige Worldwide wants to build a dashboard that will show which sales reps are meeting their monthly sales quotas and which reps are falling short, broken down by sales rep. The sales manager would like to see this dashboard in both dollar amounts and percentage amounts. The dashboard can use multiple components to achieve the desired view. Which dashboard component type should an app builder recommend to meet this requirement? A. Visualforce pages. B. S-control components. C. Gauge components. D. Scatter chart components. The correct answer is C. A gauge is a dashboard component that can be used when a user wants to show a single value within a range of custom values. The user can set two threshold breakpoint values and a maximum value, and then assign colors to each of those three values. In this case, the sales manager would be able to set a gauge of dollar amounts that would show how each sales rep is doing each month. For example, if the sales goal is $100,000 per month, a breakpoint can be set at $50,000, $75,000, and then a maximum value at $100,000. They would need a gauge for each sales rep or a dashboard filter defined to switch sales reps. As the month progresses and sales reps close more deals, the gauge would turn from 0 up to the full level and beyond. There's an option to select either show percentage or show total, which will allow the sales manager to see the dollar amounts and the percentage amounts. Now, let's look at the incorrect answers. A is incorrect because a Visualforce page is used when a user wants to create a completely custom component or show information not available through another dashboard component type. Since the gauge component will already show us all the data that we need to see per month in order to see the dollars and the percentages, there is no need to program a custom component when the standard functionality can meet our needs. B is incorrect because a custom S-control is similar to a legacy version of the Visualforce component. Custom S-controls can contain any type of content that a user can display in a browser. Some examples of S-controls could be a Java applet, an ActiveX control, an Excel file, or even custom HTML web forms. If an org has not previously used S-controls, they can no longer be created as of the Summer 17 release of Salesforce. D is incorrect because a scatter chart is used to show one or two groups of reporting data as dots, and it cannot show whether each sales rep is reaching a threshold or not. Question 56. The Director of Engineering at Prestige Worldwide is testing a new third-party integration that will be automatically importing 100 megabytes of data into Salesforce with each test. She wants to be able to refresh the Sandbox daily before each test. Prestige Worldwide currently has Salesforce Professional Edition. Which Sandbox should an app builder recommend to use for this situation? A. Developer Sandbox, B. Developer Pro Sandbox, C. Partial Copy Sandbox, D. Full Sandbox. The correct answer is A. In Salesforce, there are 4 types of sandboxes: a developer, developer pro, partial copy, and full copy. There are some key differences between the 4 types, including the refresh intervals, the storage limits, what is copied, and if sandbox templates are available or not. For this question, a developer sandbox is the correct answer because a developer sandbox can be refreshed daily, offers 200 megabytes of both storage and file storage, and is available in the Salesforce Professional Edition, thus meeting all of our requirements. Now, let's look at the incorrect answers. B is incorrect because a Developer Pro Sandbox is not compatible with the Salesforce Professional Edition. Although a Developer Pro Sandbox can be refreshed daily and it allows up to 1 gigabyte of both data and file storage, it is only available with the Salesforce Performance or Unlimited editions. C is incorrect because a Partial Copy Sandbox will not refresh daily and is not compatible with the Salesforce Professional Edition. A Partial Copy Sandbox can be refreshed every 5 days and allows up to 5 gigs of data and file storage. It copies metadata and a sample of the org data from the live production org, and it requires the use of a sandbox template. Partial Copy Sandboxes are compatible with Salesforce Performance, Enterprise, and Unlimited editions. D is incorrect because a Full Copy Sandbox will not refresh daily and is not compatible with the Salesforce Professional Edition. A Full Copy Sandbox can be refreshed every 29 days, has the same storage limit as the user's production org. It copies all the metadata and all the production data from the production org, and it has sandbox templates available for use, although they are not required. Full sandboxes are compatible with Salesforce Performance and Unlimited editions. Additional sandboxes can be purchased for any edition of Salesforce, so if our director wanted to spend some extra money, she could also get access to the other types of sandboxes, even with Professional Edition.